worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. Season 2.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode number 14 of The Worst Idea of All Time. My name is Tim.
My name is Guy Montgomery.
We just got our asses kicked by the movie Sex and the City 2. Man, I feel terrible.
Yep. I don't think that went well for either of us. I don't think for anyone on screen or off screen.
No one did well out of that one. I am kind of a mix of exhausted and angry and sad.
Now, what specifically do you think made this watch so difficult?
I
mean, technically, all the circumstance would have lent itself to a more forgiving screening.
Yeah, we did it in the morning.
It's a morning watch.
Early hours. We had kind of people coming through the lounge at various bits in the middle.
Yeah.
We had a lot of activity, actually.
Yeah.
The landlord came in, plumber came, checked the showers.
Yeah, the plumber even
flatmates.
The plumber sat down.
He did.
We had to explain to him why we were watching Sex and the City 2 at like 10:30 on a Thursday.
He had quite a giggle at the concept of what was going on.
He started making some pretty the longer he had to sit and watch the movie while we waited for the landlord to arrive, the sort of further he felt comfortable expressing some pretty marginal opinions.
Yeah. Conversation gradually started turning towards ISIS, and then luckily he had to go fix a shower or something, so we sort of got off that train pretty quick.
I was pretty excited by his presence at the start, though, Gary.
He's Gary Goodman.
Well, like,
Gary
to begin with, like, it was a nice injection, like a good Kiwi lad.
Yeah.
Sitting down and watching what, by all accounts to him, particularly must be a seriously odd experiment.
Yeah. It's a weird thing to walk into, and it's a very difficult thing to explain to outsiders briefly what exactly we're doing. So it always makes it awkward. Hey, before I forget, because I know I'll forget later, happy birthday to Lawrence. I'm probably saying her name wrong.
Yeah, it's pronounced Laurent, I think, but it's neither here nor there.
I was going to say Law is what most people probably call her.
There you go.
Happy
Birthday wishes done and dusted. Get him out of here. I'm not interested in them.
Well, still, happy birthday. So I don't know what was so different about today. Like, I didn't get the best sleep last night, so I've been pretty tired the whole time. There's just it always goes long, but it went longer today, like way longer. It really felt like it was about 5 hours, like in real actual
inescapably
time.
long. It's just not fair. It's like I'm really. And I know you are too, really struggling to tackle the movie head on. And so instead of actually sitting through a movie for 2.5 hours,
yeah,
it's kind of like just feeling like you're being weighed down by like 100 kilograms of diamantes for 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
Or rhinestones.
Predictable.
Like a rhinestone cowboy. What is the origins of the saying rhinestone cowboy?
I don't know.
Well, putting it out there to you.
I guess, is it like rhinestones, were they considered quite a effeminate object of the cowboy community? So it was like, you're a girly man? You're a girly man cowboy?
I mean, that would be where my mind would go. Girly or like maybe not valuable.
You're a cheap-ass cowboy.
You're a cheap, effeminate cowboy. And in the Wild West, that is the worst insult we can give. This is a song and this is how we sing.
Well, I guess let's try and get some shining lights in early.
To lift the mood.
I think, funnily enough, I didn't tell you what mine was, but I had mine pegged pretty early, and I think we actually landed on almost the same one. Because my shining light, if I may go first, sorry to be so rude and bold.
By all means.
It was when the gals are exiting the hotel in Abu Dhabi the first time, and Miranda says, we'll be back in time for lunch. It's not the line. That's an awful line. I don't know why she's telling the staff that. Who gives a shit? Like, you're an adult. You're a fully grown woman. Like, you can look after yourself.
It's just a line that they have to feed into the movie so that they can linger on the shot and we can advertise the wares.
And that was my shining light, what she's wearing in that shot. It's all white, and I think it looks real cool.
Crisp?
Yeah. Yeah, very crisp. And it's like an off-white. It's like a cream. It's like a very light cream. Because Miranda is wearing bizarro shit for 95% of the film. crazy shit that you wouldn't expect. If you got someone who like suffers from very severe mental illness and put them in a dress-up box and they just emerged after 20 minutes with as much accessories and shit as they can put on themselves, they'd look like Miranda does
in this
movie.
film.
But in that one, it's kept pretty good.
Well, funnily enough, Tim, my shining light was also when the gals were leaving the hotel, this time when they were about to embark on their flashy first-class flight back to New York City. But it was when it was funnily enough Miranda's outfit again. I mean, to be honest with you, the reason that was my shining light was because I realized we were quite far through the movie and I had been hating it so passionately that I had nothing, and I was like, look, it suddenly occurred to me to actively look for something to enjoy.
Yeah.
And I guess maybe I can't specifically, I know she's wearing white, I can't specifically remember the outfit you're describing, but I looked at that outfit and I was like, do you know what? By the standards of this film, what all of you generally were wearing and what Miranda is often wearing, this is a pretty respectable outfit. I think you could wear this on the streets today.
It's a bright red.
She was a loud red jacket with a sort of quite a powerful yellow t-shirt underneath.
Very powerful.
Sort of nice, comfortable looking, almost camel-coloured trousers.
Yeah, sort of almost dress pants with a tapered down to where the foot is.
And I'm not convinced by the handbag. It's sort of a green. I don't want to say. I don't quite know how to describe the texture. It's not gloss. It's not matte. It's more gloss than matte. But I mean, the handbag for me was what would throw this as a shining light into disarray. But I'm willing to overlook that for the sake of having something good to say about the film. It's just we're just watching arguments that don't result, that like arguments that don't need to be had.
Arguments that shouldn't have started and never satisfyingly end week after week after week. Arguments of so little consequence that you wonder why anyone would bother to write it down, let alone make a multi-million-dollar film about it.
That we watched the trailer right in between.
We had to wash the taste of this movie out of our mouth by watching the hilarious intro to the original Austin Powers movie where he's dancing through the streets. Really was. Truly. Say what you will about the rest of the other two.
I enjoyed
Austin
all three
Powers.
of them.
They taper off.
I haven't revisited Goldmember.
But that first one...
Schmock and a pancake.
Schmock and a pancake.
Bong and a waffle.
That first movie is really something special. I watched it so many times. That's probably the first movie as a kid that I could say every word of. One of the only.
I think it was the second one maybe. I went to the cinema with my dad. It was like one of the first movies we watched together where we both laughed the same amount. We were like on the same page in terms of...
That's a special moment,
That was a very special moment. But yeah, after that we also watched a Sex and the City 2 trailer just to see how you're meant to advertise or market this film. Like, what is the draw? Obviously the draw is already taken care of in that you've got a wonderful franchise that is beloved by the fans.
Yes.
The Sex and the City 2 trailer doesn't even allude to the concept of plot. It's like...
No, not at all.
It's just like a hastily thrown together series of shots of New York and then a few of Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Like, they put probably, for every 20-minute block of the film, there was one shot from within it, but no context for any of it. There was no suggestion that there'd be any conflict or, like...
substance?
Yeah. And in that regard,
storyline?
You have to respect the trailer for its honesty.
You're right.
Like, the movie absolutely delivers on what the trailer promises.
Which is nothing.
There's
nothing in the trailer, so you can't lose.
The difference, the big difference for mine, Tim, is the trailer comes in at a reasonable 1 minute, 21 seconds.
Yes, correct.
And it tells exactly the same story as the film does. And
which
the
is
film
no
takes
story at all.
2 hours and 26 minutes.
There's a weird
146 minutes.
bit of editing though, where they go straight from, because they kind of do a little show. They do a lot of sweeping shots of New York City. We're getting New York City
it's a good selling point
from every angle. We're in the sky. We're doing bird's eye view. We're on the ground. We're looking at tall skyscraper buildings. We're at a low angle shot. We're at a high angle shot. Then we start getting. This is the trailer, mind you, everyone listening. Then we get introduced to the four gals. They each get their little segment in the sun.
They use the word carry as a pun.
Carry on's used a lot, and carry forward or whatever the fuck it is. But when they go to Samantha, they've like got a shot of her at the wedding, and then they go back to the girls without Samantha waving, and then they go back to a shot of Samantha in a completely different scene. It's like she's
Do you know what?
teleported.
That might possibly be because is it clear that Samantha's not getting married at the wedding? Because I feel like maybe one of the draws or one of the teasers they tried to do, because they also tease it at the top of the film, is to suggest that Samantha Jones is getting married and settling down.
Right.
That could be. I don't think that's outside the realm of possibility, because then at the start of the film, when they're walking into Bergdorf Goodman,
Yeah.
and they're all and Carrie's doing the voiceover, and she goes,
"That's the jewelry shop." Everyone listening.
and things can happen that you never thought possible. And like they're all sort of they're walking to get into, obviously it's something wedding related.
Yeah, right.
And they're all kind of looking at Samantha, and there's a lot of allusions to how unlikely this is, and like that this, no one ever foresaw this happening or whatever.
And it's quite.
It turns out they're talking about
Stanford
gay
and
marriage.
Anthony. Yeah.
But I think that the teasers, or is Samantha getting married? And then they rip the rug out from underneath you within the first 2 minutes of the film. Like, no, Samantha's definitely not getting married. She wants to fuck a Danish architect.
Do you, Dick Spurt? Do you think that there were people watching the trailer and taking it apart with the veracity that, like, when a new Marvel trailer comes out and everyone's analysing a split second?
I think internet
frame
culture
of a
over the
new
last 5 years
superhero
has changed rapidly enough that no one was consuming any trailer 5 years ago the same way we do now. But I think that the diehard Sex and the City 2 fans, in the context of how invested you could be.
So they saw Sam at a wedding. They were like, "Holy shit, is it happening?"
There were probably some message boards blowing up.
Yeah.
We should go diving into the Sex and the City message boards one day.
Yeah, I would love to get into that. If anyone knows some good fan sites,
another terrible.
Flick 'em on through.
And the main failure of the trailer for mine was Carrie says, "In 2 years, incredible things can happen, things that you never thought possible in a million years." It's like, what a fucking lazy bit of writing and oversight to have, like, the same measure, like to measure by years.
Oh, I see what you're saying. You're
Twice in 2
comparing a
sentences.
thing with
Like,
the same
things
thing,
can
but
happen-
more of it.
Yeah, things can happen in 2 years that you never thought could happen in a million years. What?
Yeah, true. That is shit writing.
And
Good
the end
point.
of the movie, the last line is like, while movies might be good in black and white, in relationships, there's a whole range of colors to choose from. That doesn't make any sense either. That's like a sentence that you write 20 minutes before some terrible media studies essay is due, and you're like, oh, look, this is vague and broad enough that no one's going to ask any questions, and
It's
it kind
like
of
the
looks and feels...
Third time in 3 weeks you brought up media studies.
I don't know. This movie's reducing my, like, brain's capacity to think critically.
I think you're reverting. You're regressing back to teenage years. That's what this movie's doing to you. But the weird thing is in that trailer that, they do say that, like, amazing things can happen in 2 years. But all throughout the movie, they keep impressing upon you, the viewer, the fact that only bad things have happened in the last 2 years. Like, Carrie presumably had a terrible wedding in the first movie, and then now she's just married. That's fine. Samantha bemoans the bullshit economy that's been befalling her business for the last 2 years. Apparently, Miranda's been no fun for the last 2 years.
Yeah, she hasn't, because her job's been going badly.
And Charlotte's has been struggling away with Rose and Lily, and a nanny with
She wasn't
big old
in
breasts
fairness,
who doesn't wear a bra.
She wasn't Erin, and she wasn't struggling with the nanny until it was callously brought up. It wasn't actually callously brought up. The immediacy with which she took her friend's japes as like a serious worry, and then like the intensity of that as a through line. Charlotte's only through line in this entire movie is, I think Runkle's gonna fuck the Irish nanny.
I like that you're still holding on to calling him Runkle.
It's one of the few joys I have week in, week out.
Good on you. Well, let me ask you this, guy. You're a stay-at-home dad. You've got 2 kids.
Is Runkle stay at home?
Oh, wait. No. I was trying to put you in Charlotte's shoes. Oh, it's confusing. It's hard too, because you don't generally get male nannies, even today.
You can. There was a Friends episode about that. A manny. Freddy Prince Jr. was the manny. I used to think he was such a dish.
Freddie Prince Jr. was with Sarah Michelle Gellar, right?
They're still together. I think they're married.
Are they? They're not still. Are they?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope so. Sarah Michelle Gellar is my original celebrity crush. OG.
She, I think, was everyone's original celebrity crush.
Man, Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Of our generation. I had TV hits posters of her in my room.
Oh, mate. Who didn't? She was great. She was so good. And have you seen photos of her recently? She hasn't aged a day.
Well, it's because she's been out of the searing spotlight.
Yeah, that's true.
She's been living a wonderful life.
I hope so. She deserves
with
it.
Freddy Prince.
Yeah.
Also a slice of all right.
Freddy Prince is so dishy.
Yeah.
Do they have kids?
Probably. They're probably adorable.
Yeah. And I bet they're quite well behaved too.
And adjusted. Because they didn't have to live through celebritar. Their
But
parents
they got
nailed
the
it,
benefits of
got
a
out,
bit
yeah,
of
they
money
nailed it.
and-
Got out of the game before. I mean, they're not going to wind up like, I don't know.
like Angelina and Brad's kids.
Well, they're pretty good.
I actually think that they're probably good parents, Brangelina. I'm going to put that out there. Angelina Jolie's a fascinating character.
She is. She made it with her brother at the Oscars or something, and she used to carry around a vial of his blood, maybe.
No, that was Billy Bob Thornton's blood when they were married. There's something to be said for that.
For carrying a vial of your lover's blood.
Yeah.
Would you do that?
Probably not me personally. I think it's a little freaky for my particular taste, but I can understand doing
Maybe
it.
that's because you never felt a love as intense as what Angelina Jolie and Billy Bob Thornton had.
Entirely possible. I'll be the first to concede that. Maybe one day I will fall into a love the depth of which can only be felt by me carrying around a vial of liquid life force of my lover.
Which of the characters from
But
your,
hold on, let me
from your
finish
watch
this.
of-
Let me finish this thought. So you're a stay-at-home dad or whatever. There's a male nanny who's looking after the kids too, and your wife is attracted to the nanny.
no one ever says Runkle's attracted to the nanny. It's said that the nanny's attractive.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
she doesn't even broach
Well, he
the
looks-
topic.
he looks
she
at
never
her
even
boobs.
broaches the topic with Runkle.
He looks at her.
She doesn't even talk about it with him.
That's true, man. Good God, her entire storyline is predicated on that bad component of their relationship, and all it would take to solve is literally starting a conversation about it with him. Like that is the panacea to fix this entirely.
This movie, I realize now that we've found a way of talking about the actual movie, as we talk about it right now, is going to turn us into like horrible, ham-fisted relationship counselors
Oh God, I hope not.
for like repeated, ongoing problems faced by these insufferable characters.
Very specific, Dr. Phil.
I want you to get excited about your life.
What I want you to do, Charlotte, is I want you to start the line of communication.
It sounds like Dr. Phil and Kermit the Frog had a child.
Hey, I never
I
claimed...
want you, Charlotte, to start talking to Runkle about the problems you think you face as a married couple. That's not a great
Dr.
Dr.
Phil's
Phil.
a fuckwit. I hate that guy so much.
Really?
Yeah, big time, man. Fuck, I hate him. He's right up there with old...
Why?
that other cunt.
He had to stop calling himself a doctor.
No, he didn't.
He's not a doctor.
He is.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Dr. Phil is absolutely a doctor.
He's not.
His show's still on the air. Dr. Phil.
Yeah, no. It looks like it says doctor.
No, you're thinking of the other guy.
Dr. Oz.
Oz, yeah. And what that was is not that Dr. Oz is not a doctor. It's the fact that he was making so many bald-faced lies as claims on his show that they were saying, you can't do this. You're a medical practitioner. You're a medical communicator. And he said, no, the doctor in the logo is very, very, very small. So it's not really a medical advice show. The Oz is massive. The doctor is
Really?
small. Yeah, that was the part of their justification.
That's a good argument. It's amazing to me when you hear about things like that and like the logic applied. Or
Absurdity.
the argument back is like some intermediate primary school
Yeah.
shit. Like
Big time. Did you look at the logo of the show, friends?
it's so obvious.
It's such a tiny doctor and such a big Oz.
Tim, of all the characters in the movie today,
Yeah.
if you had to go away for a weekend with any of them, no, actually, I'll reduce it from weekend. You have to go. One of them's visiting Auckland, and for whatever reason, there's some bizarre family connection, and you're obligated to take them out for a beer and to like show them around Auckland for a night.
Yeah.
Who would you most hope to receive as a guest?
Either Miranda or Carrie, and probably Miranda.
For what reason?
So Samantha's most fun.
Yeah.
Definitely, without a doubt, but she would be a goddamn liability. And she'd be a real handle to try and keep a bit of a leash on and keep entertained.
Yeah.
She'd want to go out all night. I'm a guy who, like, I'll go to town every now and then, but I peg out at about 2 a.m. these days. I've got like a hard stop on the night, unless it's a very special occasion. She would want to go until dawn, and I would just, for me, this is just the worst. I can't keep up with that kind of shenanigans anymore. So she'd really tire me out.
Charlotte?
And I feel like she'd get in trouble. Charlotte would be, I feel like, so annoying, and you constantly be wanting to take her to the best thing, and it would be really expensive, and she'd still never be impressed. You'd like take her up the top of the Sky Tower, she'd be like, oh, okay, what's the next thing? You go to Waiheke to see the wineries, and she'd be like, oh, what's the next thing? It's like, fucking hell, Charlotte, we've done so much. Can we just, like, cool it? Whereas I think with Miranda, you could do a nice day at the art gallery. You know, I think she'd enjoy that.
Mm.
And maybe even, like, she'd be down with just seeing a movie. Maybe go to, like, an art house cinema, or maybe Rialto or something. See, like, a semi-independent film, maybe a foreign film. And I reckon she'd be cool with that. Carrie, I think, is on a similar vein. We should be reasonably easy to entertain. Carrie, you could probably actually just go out for a lot of food, I think. If you found the right
loves to
eateries.
eat out, yeah.
Yeah.
What
about you?
You don't. It doesn't need to be one of the gals.
Oh.
You could. I mean,
Anyone in the whole movie?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then without question, Runkle.
Yeah.
Without question.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
There's no second guessing or second
There's no
thoughts
two ways
that.
about it.
You?
Miley.
Miley Cyrus.
Yep.
You got me on a technicality there, boy. Well done. She is in the movie.
Undeniably so. I had a pretty sad realization during the movie.
You did.
That any chance that I might have had with Miley, I don't actually know her personally. I don't know if we were a good match. But, you know, just speaking purely in hypothetical
It's
terms.
fair to assume you would be, though.
I think I've hamstrung my chances with Miley insofar as having a tattoo of her ex-boyfriend on my butt is probably a bit of a...
Yeah, it's off-putting.
It's a deal breaker.
It'd be very off-putting. If
and you obviously... You've got the same thing.
I'm in the same boat.
But you don't seem to mind as much.
No, you seem to have a little bit more of a fixation on Miley than I. Would you agree with that statement?
Yeah. That's a fair statement.
I'm more of a Sarah Michelle Gellar kind of guy. Myself.
Yeah.
Vintage Buffy. What even happened to the guy who played who was the like real smart ass dude? I forget his name.
Was the guy who did Hellboy?
Did he do Hellboy? Feels like it would have been the same guy.
I don't know.
It's hard to say. Anyway, he was great. I can't wait for him to pop up in something I'm watching. Isn't it always so satisfying when that happens? Like when we turn this on and Miley's in there and Runkle's in there. And
I remember when these moments used to be exciting.
after 14 watches, the shine does come off a little bit.
Two jokes still hold.
Mm?
When Big asks Carrie, when they're at the sort of hotel, whatever, for the wedding, which is worse?
I can't tell what's worse.
I can't tell what's
Samantha or
worse.
the baby.
They're choosing between a screaming baby and Samantha having loud sex. And Carrie says, the baby... No, Samantha, yeah, the baby will tire out eventually.
Yeah.
That's a funny sass.
That is a funny sass. Yeah, it's good.
The other one that still kills me is it's almost an anti-joke in the context of the film, but is on the plane when Samantha says, I have 4 people in my bed, and the other 3 girls just reject it outright.
Oh, yeah. Because they're talking about how Charlotte's got 4 people in her bed because she's got her kids in there.
3 moments, 3 jokes which I like. And the other one is when Dick Spurt meets the girls at the karaoke bar, and he says... Dick Spurt's the Danish architect, for anyone who hasn't been able to keep up with our timeline of the movie. I wonder, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, what... If anyone could potentially write like a 100-word blurb of what you think
the movie is,
maybe the order of events or just whatever you think.
Yeah, that'd be very satisfying.
I think that'd be entertaining because I've got no idea how much plot or like what we've actually discussed. But anyway, yeah, when he says, when Samantha says, your name's Dick Spurt, and he goes, could you be any more American? I think not. He answers his own rhetorical. That kills me.
I am going to call shenanigans on that one because I don't think
what's
they
that
know
restaurant
it's a
you
joke.
love?
What?
The one with all the funky shit on the walls. It's a Super Troopers reference.
Oh, missed that.
It's okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's one of those situations where they tripped over a funny moment. I think like there was no intention of that being funny for the reason that it is funny.
Can you imagine directing this film? What a job.
Yeah.
What a big ask.
Oh yeah. Especially in Morocco, I don't know how that would have.
It takes 2.5 hours to watch. It would have taken so long to make. And to write it and then direct it and probably constantly be losing confidence on set every hour of every day.
I think you would very much be drinking your own Kool-Aid at this point, though. Like, Michael Patrick King have been at the helm since the TV days.
MPK.
Yeah.
You also noticed today that they take a swipe at television, which is funnily enough what created this entire...
I have got a weird feeling we might have talked about this before, but the fact that there's a large portion of the argument with Carrie and Big, which seems to occupy, like, emotionally 65% of the film. And it happens for about 25 minutes in the middle of the movie, and I detest it. What's the opposite of looking forward to it? I dread it.
Yeah, that's
coming
the opposite.
up every time.
It's exactly the opposite.
And so Carrie makes a big song and a dance about how they're turning into a boring old married couple and how Big is just watching TV all the time, which is funny when you consider that we're watching a movie made from a TV series.
Do you think that's Michael Patrick King going, ha, I'm bigger than TV now, you little bitches.
I'm in the movies. Movies are fine.
I'm in the movie
that
business.
That makes sense because the movie is about a movie, Heart of the Desert. Which is the whole impetus of them going to Abu Dhabi. So this movie is actually just Michael Patrick King big upsing himself and shitting on everyone who's still stuck in the TV industry. What a revelation. What a big dick move to make a middle finger salute in the form of a feature film costing millions.
What a big dick dude. I think one of the reasons maybe we found it so hard to watch is that in previous weeks we've at least had the energy to muster alternative realities within the film or alternative storylines or get excited by the prospect of
like Big being investigated by the SEC.
Or like Brady being the Rat King. We didn't, like, we were so empty.
We're so beaten down.
And dead-eyed in this watch. We didn't create a single parallel narrative.
No.
And therein, I think, lies why it was such a tough watch. It just occurred to me then.
We were subjected to the actual film rather than a unique spin on it.
Rather than getting excited about.
Because the first couple watches,
opportunities.
I mean, the first watch, you're like, okay, wow, this is what we're going to be dealing with. Interesting, fascinating, interesting. And then the second watch, you kind of get more of what it is that you're grappling with. And then by the third one, you're kind of creating little things. And today we were just so beaten down and tired, you're right, that we were just subjected to the literal film that they made, which is a bad movie.
Undeniably a bad movie. I don't know if it, like, I don't know if, because we'd watched Grown Ups 2 52 times, that the first few viewings of this were more forgiving because it was just exciting to have a shiny new toy. But I've got to say, objectively speaking, this is so much harder.
Things have gone downhill so much quicker than
worse.
last time. Like, this feels like how it felt in the late 40s with Grown Ups 2. In terms of watches, like watch 48, 49.
Yeah. No,
It's
but
that
at
kind
least then there was the element of, oh my God, it's nearly done.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyway, Tim, I think it's time to dive into a little segment we like to call...
Where's he going? What's he up to, you?
Close enough. Our hero, for those of you who are listening for the first time, welcome aboard. Interesting choice of episode. I guess you didn't know before you entered it that this is what you were going to get. But for taking a punt, we salute you. Tim, salute right now with me. We both genuinely saluted in your general direction then. I want you to know that.
Someone's dived in off this episode first. I don't think they're still listening.
But only to the new listeners did we throw a salute. To the old listeners, we extend a handshake.
In fact, do you know what?
And we've both extended a handshake and we're miming the shaking of the hand.
If you're not...
I'm still shaking hands.
Oh, you are. You've held it tight.
I would like anyone listening right now, please, to put your hand out and shake.
Unless you're driving. Please don't do it if you're driving.
Okay. It's wonderful.
We just shared a moment, you and I, listener. So, Coffee Man.
So, yeah. So, pretty much...
Worshipper of Java.
The worshipper of the Java. He's an extra in the film. He's a real scene stealer. When the girls are out gas bagging,
real pro to work with.
Yeah, real joy. He's in the background of frame, just necking caffeine like a maniac. once, twice, thrice. He stands up with a spring in his step. He goes charging out the door.
Yeah. He's got a piss bolt out of there. Do you want to know why?
I'm very curious.
Quite simply, the man has drunk too much coffee and it is ripping through his insides.
That's right. And I mean, he's a regular at this cafe. He knows what the bathroom situation is. It's one of those cafes where you have to go and ask for the key.
Yeah.
And then you
it's
get
that
given the
good.
key and you go to the bathroom. And I mean, I understand why you've got that system, but the thing is that the situation he's finding his bells in right now, you don't want the clock to be out on how long you're spending in the bathroom.
That is so true.
He doesn't.
He took the newspaper because he knew he'd need some materials in there. His cell phone battery might not hold out enough
Right, this guy's
longitude for him to get
essentially
his business
shitting
done.
in the 90s. He's taking hard reading material into the bathroom.
Non-battery
So,
aided materials.
as a regular at the cafe and a friend of the baristas and servers, he essentially does not want them to think of what he does to the toilet on this circumstance every time he goes in there. You know that sort of fear that he would have where he's like, look, if I do what to this toilet what I know is about to happen,
Yeah.
no one in this cafe can look at me or respect me the same way again.
Well, at least he takes matters into his own hands by... A lot of times those cafes will leave the brush and even a little bit of toilet cleaner by the
Yeah.
bowl. Get in there, mate.
Absolutely.
Do
but
your part.
Still, you go in there 20 minutes, 25 minutes, it's too long.
It is too long. That's
One
the real issue.
shared unisex toilet.
The real issue is A, how much traffic you're creating behind you by being in there, and two, people just going, what is happening with this guy?
And they've got a logbook where they keep a timing of every toilet usage. So like when you return the key, they write down in the book, coffee guy, 25 minutes.
What the hell?
What? Yeah, and then in parenthesis they put like a further thought on the matter, and they're like, yeah, Jesus H Christ.
So in a funny sort of sense, this week's Where's he off to, what's he doing, whatever the fuck, is them asking that question of him still, but he's in his shitter.
He's not in their shitter though, eh?
He's in the cafe's shitter.
Oh no! So I was thinking he's leaving the cafe because he doesn't. He just cannot.
Oh, okay, right.
So that's what I'm saying is he understands
so
the system.
so
He's
that was
regular-
like a flash in his mind where he was like, this is the situation I'm going to be up against. I can't let it come to pass.
Yeah. And so
Okay.
he's out there. He's frantically looking for
Sure.
any form of public restroom.
Right. So where does he end up, our hero? What happens?
They're very near Central Park, and he's running through Central Park, desperate, looking for anywhere to take care of this caffeinated related business, caffeine business.
Do you know what I find if that situation's going to arise is helpful is fast food restaurants, because no one's minding who's in there for however long.
Yeah, mate. You're preaching to the choir here.
Go for gold.
Absolutely.
Find yourself a comfy wee McDonald's.
Presumably, you're in
Park up
New
with a
York.
New
There must
Zealand
be
Herald.
fast food outlets all over the place. A Starbucks. I don't know if they regulate toilet usage in Starbucks.
I reckon they do. They're like selected Starbucks. Mickey D's, you know that you're fine. Like,
Yeah.
you know you're guaranteed no one's going to
no one's earning enough to like be
Give a
like,
shit.
don't do a shit in our toilet.
Yeah, exactly.
And the
But
turnover
Starbucks,
and the
uppity.
turnover of like customers and also staff doing different duties in the restaurant means that he doesn't need to worry about the harsh judging eyes.
You can pretty much live in a McDonald's if you're smart about it. It's got internet there,
Go about it the right way.
toilet.
Food to cater to all times of the day.
They're usually, like, the bigger ones are big enough that you can just find yourself a wee corner. If you go to that Wendy's on Queen Street,
Yeah.
you just go upstairs, man. Park
There's-
your wee bloody laptop up there.
Yeah.
Be in there for ages.
People have got those camouflage sort of beige sheets set up in corners.
Yeah.
I went to a business meeting in one of the corners of that Wendy's.
I legitimately saw a family when I was last in that Wendy's upstairs, a family who had bought a multi-board and everyone was connected to something. There was like tablets for the kids, laptops for the olds.
See, that's really crazy to me because
You're taking the piss at that point. You're absolutely taking the piss.
yeah.
Like, that's not on.
Like I can't even formulate the thought of why I find that so insane. If you've got because
You're stealing power.
they've all got tablets. Obviously, they can afford their own power at their house or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's fucking weird, man. It was a weird thing to say.
look, kind citizen of planet Earth, wherever you may be, whatever the time of day might be, may I suggest to boost morale for Tim and I on this stupid adventure we're undertaking, a selfie.
Oh man, I'd love to see some selfies.
Nothing lifts morale like seeing you enjoy our misery.
Where do we want them? We want them on. Where do we want them?
Tweet them, Facebook them. We don't really mind.
If you're going to tweet them, Guy's thingy is at Guy_Mont, M-O-N-T, and mine is at Tim_Batt, B-A-T-T. And chuck them on the Facebook as well, which is, if you just search the worst idea of all time, you'll find it.
It'll mean a lot to us.
We'd love to see your faces.
And what you're doing. Where are you?
What are you up to? Where are you going?
That's right.
You know,
That's
you're
right,
our
Tim.
coffee guy today.
All right. Onwards is the march.
Onward is the march. We shall leave ideology to the armchair generals. Good night.
It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time. It's the worst idea of all time.